What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming here with the 17th episode of my F1 2019 career mode. Here today, we're at the American Grand Prix for the race around the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. It should be an interesting Grand Prix. Have a bit of weather for the race this weekend, both qualifying and the race. Practice was all dry, but some weather for Saturday and Sunday, which should make the race very interesting indeed. As you can see here, we are currently 8th in the development charts. It's all very close between us to like Alfa Romeo and Racing Point and stuff. One upgrade can really increase your chances. We haven't made any upgrades in the last few races, trying to reserve those engine components and, really focus on that to not lose those bits for next year, which we've done now. So now for the last two races after this one, we can start focusing again on the chassis and aero. Anyway, let's get into the race. Oh, qualifying, sorry. Welcome to qualifying here today at the American Grand Prix. At the minute, it is currently dry weather, but rain is coming later in the day. Not sure when it's going to hit at this point of the time. Anyway, first time run is on a set of medium tyres because I had an extra set of mediums, but I didn't even do it. I didn't put in that good a lap anyway, so we come across the line to come across in last place, which with a 35.0. So that wasn't really a competitive time. Made a couple of mistakes on that lap. Wasn't a good lap. Come around now. This is our second run on the soft tyre. I know I love this first sector here in America. It's just so the corners are so flowing. I didn't mess that up a little bit, but really feels really nice to drive. And once you get to here, and you just feel so satisfied, especially if you've hit all the apexes. We put in a blinding first sector, as you can see. We're going purple. Improving in the middle sector as well, but as we come across the line, Verstappen currently fastest. We come across the line to go 9th place, so 9th for the first session in Q1, which sees us go through to Q2 for the first time in a couple of since Russia. So that's a good sign early on that we have some pace. We were slightly quicker than Perez in Q1, so we're back on the pace here in America. Had a few poor races in a row at Japan and Mexico. Not my favoured two tracks. Those are some of my weaker tracks that I need to work on. But anyway, out of Q1 was Romain Grosjean, Robert Kubica, Lando Norris in 18th, Daniel Ricciardo, and Nico Hulkenberg. So you can see the Renault really struggling around this American track, only bringing up the back row of the grid. And you can see the improvements Williams have made with Kubica not being last and him being able to improve, and also George Russell able to get into Q2, which is really good for them to see them make the improvements they've made on their car, and they just keep developing and it's really good to see. As now we're here in Q2 on our first flying lap, and you can see here we're coming into turn 11, just going a little bit too deep and then not getting the power down the nicest on the exit, smoothly on the exit, and that costs us a little bit of time. Even if you miss that apex a little bit, if you can get the power on nicely, you don't lose too much time down the straight, but unfortunately we didn't do that, so we lost a bit of time as we come here to finish our first run. In the Q1 our time was a 1:32.6, and that is a 1:32.9. So we're slower than Weber, but we were quicker than Perez, who didn't put in a very good lap time, and quicker also than Lance Stroll. So that was encouraging slightly, but we knew there was still more time to be found on this next lap, which is our second run in Q2. We came out with about 7 minutes to go instead of what you'd normally do. Would come out with 2 minutes to go because there was rain coming, as I'm sure you heard before. So, and that was supposed to be coming. That said 15 minutes at the start of the session, and the session runs for 15 minutes. So we'll just see how that goes as we hit these apexes as best as we can. We're not improving in the first sector here, but it's very tight with our fastest lap time. We know we're going to find time, hopefully in the hairpin, if we don't make another mistake, using all the track on the exit of turn 9. Now into turn 11, braking just in between the 150 metre board. I find it most comfortable. We've locked up the left tyre a little bit. Probably still a little bit better than the last lap. We got the power on nicely this time, so we don't lose time, as much time down the straight. We gain a little bit of time, so we're now improving here into this second sector, but not improving by enough at this stage to go through to Q3. So this is a very important last sector coming up. We hit that apex really nicely, I feel like, just clipping that curb. Really tricky corner, this one, and now coming into turn 15, which is also another really tricky corner. To brake and turn and not lock up that front left is very difficult to do. And now you can see we are gaining time here in this third sector massively. Really flat out through the right hander here into turn 19 now, and cut that a little bit too much maybe, unfortunately, but didn't lose invalidate lap time. Come through the last corner, turn 20, come across the line. We're 4 tenths up. We've had a great last sector, and that has put us into 8th place. And now this is the cool down lap. I'm coming back into the pits from the soft tyres run we just did, and you can see the rain has just started to fall, so it was a good decision by me to go out straight away. Anyway, we're now into Q3. No one would improve. Don't know why I didn't show the standings, but it doesn't matter. We're into Q3. Our teammate Perez did not make it through to Q3. No one was able to improve time here on our first run on the intermediate tyres. We've almost put it in the barrier, and that's ruined our first lap here as Devon Butler goes through on his flying lap. So that's unfortunate, but we're now coming around here. This is our second lap in Q. We decided to do another lap, and we had enough fuel to do another lap, and we come across the line, and it's only 10th place, so we weren't able to beat Butler or Kvyat, and the rain is now getting heavier, so we weren't able to improve, and Max Verstappen is on pole, followed by Vettel and Leclerc, with Hamilton 4th, Gasly 5th, Bottas 6th, Weber in 7th, Kvyat 8th, Butler in 9th, and we have qualified in 10th place. So, should be a good one. Let's get into the race now. Welcome to the US Grand Prix here today. It's a really, really wet one. Shades of 2016, this kind of weather. Not as bad as 2016, obviously. There was really poor conditions like lightning and thunderstorms and all that. Anyway, Should be a good one here. Really challenging races up ahead. Starting from 7th, a lot of grid penalties, including Max Verstappen, who was supposed to be on pole. Pierre Gasly's got grid penalties. Ricciardo's got grid penalties. Norris, a lot of drivers have grid penalties. So we're going to start up in 7th. Lucas Weber also with a grid penalty. So really strong starting position here. This is our all Ferrari front row now. So they're in prime position with Mercedes on the second row. Let's see if they can do anything. Leclerc's got a good chance to win the title here today. Maybe, but anyway. 5 lights. What can we do from 7th? It's go for the American Grand Prix. Not a bad start. Good start for Danny Kvyat by the looks of it. Raikkonen's also getting a good start on our left here. As we come into turn 1, very difficult to see already with the spray from other cars. Butler slots into 6th place. We go around the outside of Raikkonen to go into 7th. Danny Kvyat has gotten ahead of both the Mercedes drivers into turn 1. He's had a launching start. Not sure how he's done that. In the Racing Point, he's 3rd race for Racing Point, and he's up into the points, into the podium position, I should say. With the 2 Ferraris out in front, they can really take advantage of Kvyat being in 3rd in the slower Racing Point with Hamilton and Bottas stuck behind in the early stages of this Grand Prix. As we make a bit of a mistake there and gives Raikkonen an opportunity maybe to have a look at us into turn 11, but he's not close enough as we jump onto the brakes into turn 11 for the first time. Now on the run to turn 12, and we need to just find a rhythm, settle into one, and we're in overtake mode here, seeing if we can get closer. We're getting closer to the back of Devon Butler. Can we make a move into turn 12 now? We're going to have a look, but we're not close enough. We're going to have to... Oh, but no, he got brakes a bit earlier than I thought he would, and we send it down the inside, and he's able to hold on. We try to open up the angle of the corner, and we hit there, where it looks at by Raikkonen, but we're not going to make a move just yet into turn 15. A little bit unsure of track conditions, and how the track is responding to these full wet tyres. So very, very difficult conditions. Very difficult to see what was going on at times, especially if you're behind a couple of cars. Even for the game, it was really, really difficult to see. So it's good to see that Codemasters try to make the game that realistic in terms of how your visibility is in the wet conditions as it becomes poor and poor. Especially in these first few laps, that it was really difficult. Especially coming through the first sector if you were tucked up right behind another car. But anyway, now moving on to lap 4, and we are still following Butler, and the 2 Mercedes, who Danny Kvyat is still ahead. Anyway, Bottas has finally got a run and is attacking. Oh, sorry, not Bottas, Lewis Hamilton maybe. But we're going down the inside of Butler. We've had a great run off turn 11 and into turn 12, and this time we make a much more cleaner move compared to our first attempt, and we move up into P6, and Hamilton still can't get past their Racing Point driver. I was about to say Toro Rosso driver, but he no longer drives for that team anymore. And as we come here, you can see Hamilton just still struggling to get past. This is lap 6 now. The Ferraris are long gone. If he wanted a chance to win this Grand Prix, it looks like it is all but over. As now Valtteri Bottas is actually having a go at Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton really struggling here early on in these conditions. Not what you'd normally say of the 6-time world champion in these kind of conditions. Normally, or 5-time world champion in this game actually. Normally he is used to these he dominates in these conditions. Remember Silverstone 2008, he absolutely blitzed the field, but not here today. And Bottas is able to overtake his teammate into 4th place. He does need that though for the championship. He has the more realistic chance of any other driver to take the championship away from Charles Leclerc, and with that, hopefully he can make a move on Danny Kvyat to progress towards the Ferrari. So we're already at the start-finish line just now. Vettel leads this Grand Prix from his teammate, so he is trying to win this Grand Prix to keep his championship hopes alive. As now lap 7 here, and Hamilton's once again, he's dropped a long way from Valtteri Bottas. I'm not sure if Lewis Hamilton has some sort of issue, but here we are on the back straight on the run to turn 12. We are gaining massively on Lewis Hamilton. He defends to the inside. We go down the inside a little bit too deep on the brakes though. We overshoot the corner, go off the track, and Hamilton gets back through, and so does Kimi Räikkönen. He takes full advantage of it. He must have got past Devon Butler as well, and he tries to go around the outside of us, as we managed just to hold him off, squeezed him off the track a little bit, but that's okay. And Bottas still behind Danny Kvyat, but he's right under his rear wing, and Raikkonen has gotten through on us as well. So almost had Lewis Hamilton, but went too deep into turn 12, and that's cost us a position to Kimi Räikkönen instead. So, and we almost turned the car around coming through turn 18. Really tricky conditions these were. And now Butler's all over us, our rear wing, and right underneath our gearbox. And Max Verstappen, he only started in 9th place, and he's right there as well. He hasn't made any progress at this stage. So, yeah, as we come on to the start of lap 8, and the yellow flags appear, as it would appear that Kevin Magnussen has pulled off to the side of this race. He is out of this Grand Prix. Some sort of issue with his car, engine issue related, perhaps, maybe gearbox, I'm not sure. But he's out of this Grand Prix on the run to turn 1. And now you can really see Danny Kvyat really fighting with Bottas, and Raikkonen's right behind Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton hasn't pulled away. Bottas, you can see now, has gotten ahead of Kvyat. Hamilton hasn't pulled up any closer. Kvyat's into the pits. Hamilton and Raikkonen are also into the pits. One of the Ferraris is in the pits, not sure which one. We come around, we weren't told the pit. Perez is into the pits, though. We lose the rear end on the straight, though, and Max Verstappen, who was behind us, Devon Butler, he got past Devon Butler, and now Verstappen is ahead into turn 1, so he's come from, literally, I didn't even know he was the one behind me, and he's moved up into 3rd place now. As we come around to the end lap 11, we're coming into the pits this lap, as we've been told this lap to pit, so it looks like Perez got preferential treatment. Almost lost the car into the pits, and then I saw Devon Butler come around the outside. We go side by side into the pit lane, exciting stuff here, and managed to just keep the position into the pit lane. Verstappen's also in. Leclerc, I believe, as well, was in, and this is a switch to the intermediate tyres now, so that's why everyone's coming in. Intermediate tyres are now the quicker tyre. The rating's gotten a little bit lighter, and here I made a mistake here and didn't release me from the pits, and that's cost us a position to Devon Butler in the pit lane, and that's really unfortunate. And Butler comes out the pits. We now got Lance Stroll right behind us. There goes Robert Kubica and Lucas Weber. So we weren't battling with them before, but they're on intermediate tyres. They've already made their pit stop. So that's how far out behind we've come out. Perez is ahead of us now as well. So we lost a lot of time by doing the extra lap on the full wet tyre. So that's really unfortunate. But, you know, they gave Perez the preferential treatment despite the fact that we're ahead on track. So I'm not sure what's going on at Toro Rosso there. Anyway, behind now here on lap 13, we're behind Lucas Weber and Robert Kubica. Kubica looks like he's just struggling a little bit for raw pace compared to Weber and myself. Butler skipped away a little bit just up ahead. Would have been nice to come out ahead of these two, but that's not the way it goes sometimes. But we're right in behind. We've got a good chance to make an overtake happen. And however, with Weber being right in Kubica's slipstream, he's going to have a great slipstream advantage as well. We don't pull it. He pulls out to try and go around the outside. Nothing happening for Lucas Weber there. He's still going to have a look down the inside now into turn 13. And Weber cannot get it done. They're going side by side battling. We've got a great run here. We're going to go down the inside of both of them into turn 15. And there's a bit of contact from, I guess, Kubica, because he was the one on the inside. But Weber goes around the outside of Kubica. We go down the inside. We're both through on Robert Kubica. He loses 2 places in one corner. We gain 2 places in one corner. Weber stays as put. We move into 11th place. And now moving on to the end of lap 14, we are clearing the track. We've put in an unbelievable lap here to go fastest car on the track at the minute. We had some really good pace here on these intermediate tyres. We pulled away from Lucas Weber and who pulled away from Kubica, but now we're catching the back of Devon Butler, our teammate Sergio Perez, and Lewis Hamilton. So you can tell there must be some sort of issue for Hamilton in this Grand Prix for him to be going so slowly. We're once again flying through the first and second sectors, going purple, and really got a good feeling from these intermediate tyres here, and have caught this pack really quickly here. We're fighting for the bottom end of the points, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th places respectively. So Butler looking for a move on Perez now into turn 1. We're looking for a move on Butler. Perez probably not close enough to Hamilton, but he is just ahead there, as now we set once again the fastest lap of the race of 1:49.0, as now Butler's got a good run on Sergio Perez into turn 1, and Devon Butler goes down the inside into turn 1, up the hill, and he makes it stick into ninth place. We now are going to have a look at our teammate. We think about a move maybe into to the fast left-hander here, but we think better of it. We don't do that because we knew that would not end. That would end in a crash of some sort, and we're going to have to be patient here. We're going to have to stick behind Checo until probably at least maybe turn 11 is an opportunity if we get a good run out of this turn 9 complex here and go through turn 10, which is a flat corner even in these conditions. And we do have a good run. We're going to go down the inside of Sergio Perez, brake nice and late, and don't go too deep into the corner actually, which was really good to see as we did before with Hamilton. And we take away P10 from our teammate and we move into the points, and now we're back into overtake mode. And we have got a great run here, even on Devon Butler. We go to the outside. He defends the inside. So this time we go to the outside. Try to outbrake him into turn 12. Unfortunately, he outbrakes us. We try to switchback move, but don't get the best exit, and he's able to maintain the position. But now we switch back once again as he was defending to the inside. And we're going to go down the inside here into turn 15. And we make that one stick. He comes into the side of us, so Codemasters have to work on their AOA and their awareness kind of at the corner of when you sometimes if you stick your nose halfway in there, or if you're even up the inside like that. Anyway, moving on to lap 18, and we're now pulling away from the drivers behind, and we're closing on Lewis Hamilton, of all people. So he definitely has an issue to be going this slowly in this Grand Prix. We pull to the inside this time because the outside didn't work last time, and this time we brake a bit earlier. I didn't want to overshoot again, and we move into P8 in this Grand Prix. Next up is Pierre Gasly in 7th place. We went purple in Sector 1. We're personal best in Sector 2, so we have some unreal pace in this Grand Prix at the minute. Now, lap 19, some of the other 88 drivers, including Danny Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, have come into the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton came into the pit lane. Devon Butler, our teammate Perez, comes in. So they're making another stop for the intermediate tyres. I checked my tyres on this current lap, and they were only like 20% worn. So I was like, I'm going to the end of the race, so I can manage my tyres. Obviously, the AO8 could not manage their tyres, so that's why they are coming in for another pit stop. As now out comes Sebastian Vettel from the pits, and so does Valtteri Bottas, about a couple seconds behind. You can see though Leclerc is a long way ahead of Sebastian Vettel, and Valtteri Bottas is a bit close to the Vettel than what he was before. And I didn't pick it up at the time when I was racing, but obviously Sebastian Vettel had some sort of issue. I picked it up obviously pretty quickly that he was going very slowly here on this first lap. We have a huge moment through the chicane. Just sometimes you overdrive the car, especially seeing Vettel there, and my eyes lit up and trying to push that a little bit too hard. So I had to just calm down, refocus. We're in a good position here. Top 3 at the minute, going to the end of the race. So it's going to be a big task for any of the other drivers to beat us. Probably Bottas can probably beat us, but that's about it at this stage. You'd say maybe Max Verstappen in that Red Bull if he has some really strong pace on the fresh tyres. So anyway, we are following Vettel here, and he hasn't pulled away from us at all. And you're just starting to think here, has he got an issue maybe? And he goes really slowly into turn 15. We get a good exit as well, and now we've got a real opportunity into turn 17 and 18. 16, 17, 18. But not doing there, so thought better of it. We're going to wait for the main straight. Leclerc does the fastest lap of the race, a 1:48.3 on his new set of boots. We almost drive into the back of it, or he braked that early for the last corner. So really struggling is Sebastian Vettel with whatever issue he has. And you can see we're 3 seconds slower on that lap. And now we're going to make a decision to go down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. And we make it stick into turn 1. So Vettel loses out to us. You can see the rain is getting lighter and lighter as this race goes on with 6 laps to go. And now here at the start of lap 23, Valtteri Bottas has also passed Vettel. And now he is on the back of our rear wing. And he pulls out into turn 1. Goes down the inside in the quicker Mercedes. This is really important for Valtteri Bottas' championship chances with Charles Leclerc leading this Grand Prix. I worked out the mass, and for Leclerc to win the championship, Bottas needs to finish 7th or lower. So 2nd place right now for Valtteri Bottas is good. Anyway, moving on to the end of lap 27, we're moving on to the final lap of this Grand Prix. Bottas has pulled away. Vettel has dropped back behind Verstappen and Kimi Räikkönen, and Max Verstappen is behind us, directly behind us now. So he is caught up massively. The rain has stopped in the last, I think it stopped it on the last lap, and Leclerc is going to win this Grand Prix. Bottas is going to finish second, but who's going to finish third? Will it be us or Max Verstappen? He's been rapid. You can see he's got the fastest lap of the race here, and he said it on the previous lap, I believe. No, lap 26 he said it, so just the lap before. And we're putting all our energy resources, fuel and ERS, we had been managing that in the last 6 laps, but Verstappen catching us. We've had a huge moment coming out of that turn 9, and Verstappen sweeps around the outside very aggressively, and he takes away the podium chance from us. We'd been managing our fuel and ERS, and that was the first time I was in hot lap out of that corner. Maybe had more wheel spin than expected, but this is an opportunity maybe to take back third place. We have Max Verstappen slipstream. We have overtake mode, rich fuel mix. We're going to just go for it here. We've got a good run here behind him. We brake as late as we dare. He outbrakes us a little bit. We let off the brake and we slide around turn 12 back into third place. This is our chance for our first career podium in Formula 1 here today in this hectic Grand Prix. We've made the one-stop work, and now we are defending for Max Verstappen. We don't feel the need to defend into turn 15, and once I exited this corner, as Charles Leclerc comes across the line to take the sixth win of his season and his Formula 1 career. When we exited that corner, I knew that I had got Max Verstappen covered, so Bottas comes across the line to take a second place to continue the championship to Brazil, but we are going to come across the line for a brilliant third place at the American Grand Prix. Wow, what a race. So that was the American Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed that race. I thought it was very enjoyable. Charles Leclerc has put one hand on the championship trophy after that Grand Prix win. Sebastian Vettel finishing 6th place. Kimi Räikkönen, a great result for him to finish P5. Lewis Hamilton struggled that much with that, I don't know, whatever issue he had on the car to finish 11th place. Gasly 7th. Kvyat 8th. Weber finished 9th, and a good drive from Lando Norris that not only beat his teammate from 20th on the grid when Butler started 6th, but also to get 1 point. So I thought that was a brilliant drive. I thought he was definitely better than someone like Pierre Gasly, who was in the Red Bull and in a much quicker car. You can see the standings there, though. We are back into 8th place. We've actually moved with that podium very close to Perez. And even though we're 7th and 8th, the two Toro Rosso drivers in the championship, Perez did the bulk of those points at Racing Point. So they are looking like they're going to finish 4th in the standings. We are, however, 1 point behind Alpha now for 5th place. So that's all very exciting, and hopefully it's very tight between us and also McLaren, so that should be really interesting. Despite we're being 8th in the development tree, it doesn't matter. Any given weekend, one upgrade can really be prove critical, if I can get my words out. So I decided to make a chassis upgrade, as that's our weakest area on the car of what we can upgrade. So you can see that Renault's the weakest in chassis department as well. They're really struggling. I decided to make an improvement to there. Hopefully that helps us for the next Grand Prix and the last 2 Grand Prix actually. We're going to try and really develop the car as much as we can in these for the last 2 races. For Brazil, I also put an efficiency department thing, so we can't. Hopefully, it reduces our chances of having a failed part. Don't need that at this point in the season. Will be really useless. But then I decided to have a look at this menu just to see how the season's gone kind of for us, and also just the championship battle. You can see how Vettel, he had that crazy start at the start of the year where he won the first 4 Grand Prix, had a couple second places, then had another win. But now you can see it's Leclerc's turn. He's having this run to win the year where 3 of the last 4 races he's won, 5 of the last 6 on the podium. And I noticed that the only race where Leclerc did not score points was the German Grand Prix, where Ferrari, for whatever reason, that had that glitch. And you can see he's got a 40-point lead in the championship. He's going to only need 10 points to seal the title. Valtteri Bottas has only won 1 race all season, which was very surprising. Hamilton's won more races than him. And it's just due to the consistency that Bottas has had. Even Verstappen's won more races than Valtteri Bottas. So, yeah, really, really interesting to see that he's only won the 1 race. I didn't realise it at the time until I saw this little menu. So I thought this was all really interesting. We still maybe have a chance to also beat Perez for best of the rest. But it's going to take a really good next 2 races. We're going to have to score really well at both Brazil and Abu Dhabi. To really, Brazil is probably one of the most enjoyable tracks of the season. Can throw up anything. Abu Dhabi, I enjoyed to drive it. Maybe not great to watch. But anyway, that's been today's episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Till then, goodbye.